Welcome to Tanzania in East Africa. Tanzania is home to many national parks, including Serengeti, the famous Mount Kilimanjaro, and the School of St. Jude. With almost 17,000 primary schools, but only roughly 500 senior secondary schools, most Tanzanians are unable to complete school. At St. Jude's, our mission is to give bright, poor Tanzanian students a free, quality education so they can lead their family, community, and country with respect, responsibility, honesty, and kindness to growth and prosperity. We provide 1,800 students with free quality education, hundreds of graduates with financial support to access further education, and more than 10,000 government school students with volunteer teachers each year. The School of St. Jude also employs almost 300 Tanzanian staff across the 3 campuses and injected $7 million Australian dollars into the local economy in 2020. This is St. Jude's Special, hosted by Victor and Esther.
Hello everybody, I'm your co-host Esther.
Hi there, great to see you all, and I'm your co-host Victor.
And you're all invited to the St. Jude Special. Victor and I both graduated from 6 at St. Jude's last year, and we're going to be speaking to some very special guests and sharing our own St. Jude stories.
We can't wait to share the St. Jude Special with you.
So just sit back, relax, and let us bring Tanzania to you.
The first guest we would like to welcome today needs no introduction. She is the founder of St. Jude's, our very own Mama Gemma.
Hi Victor. Hi Esther.
Hi.
Now Gemma, normally we'll be in Australia at this time of the year. Is that right?
Yes, so normally every March I go to Australia to connect with all of our supporters, to say thanks for supporting the school, thanks for helping to spread the word. But sadly this year I haven't been able to go because of COVID and that compulsory 2-week quarantine in a hotel, and I can't give up that time. And so I really wanted to think about another way that we could still connect with everybody and all our supporters, and so that's how the idea of this St. Jude Special came about.
Now, I know lots of our viewers will know you and your story. For those who don't, or for those who are joining us from other countries around the world, could you tell us a little bit about your early life? How did a girl from New South Wales country come to open a school in Arusha, Tanzania?
So it's a good question. So I grew up in country Australia on a sheep and cattle property. I grew up with, I had 7 very wild brothers, so that taught me a lot of survival skills, pretty much from birth. But my parents really believed in education, and so I saw my parents suffer and sacrifice a lot to put my brothers and myself through good schools. Educationally wise, I'm a high school maths science teacher. What's your favourite subject, Esther?
Geography.
Geography. Yeah. Victor?
Mathematics.
Mathematics. So my favourite subject was also maths. So I'm a maths science high school teacher, and so I came over here initially to volunteer to teach maths and science. But I noticed that there were a lot of private schools around in East Africa, and the school fees were very expensive. So I was young at the time, and when you're young, you think you know everything and you're infallible and everything's going to be all right. So I thought it'd be really easy to build a good quality private school, but a private school that didn't charge school fees. And so that's how the idea of St. Jude's came about. So after working here for a few years, I went back to Australia, told my mum and dad and my brothers that I'm going to build a free private school in Africa, and you can imagine how that went down. But one of my school friends gave me my first donation, and that was $10, and that kick-started the fundraising of which St. Jude started with. Now I called the school St. Jude after the patron saint, St. Jude. St. Jude is known as the patron saint of hopeless causes. So trying to start a school with $10 is pretty hopeless, don't you think?
Sure.
So that's why I called the school after St. Jude.
And actually, it didn't stop there. So could you tell us about St. Jude's today?
So St. Jude's, we started the school in 2002 with 3 students, but thankfully, because we've got wonderful staff and parents and our wonderful supporters overseas, we now have about 1,800 students from primary and secondary. We have 300 staff on the payroll, so a lot of Tanzanians are getting employment. And then we have hundreds of students at university, which is exciting. We have now a few campuses, so we have our primary school, and then we have our girls' secondary school that opened last year. And then we have another campus, which is the big secondary school, which is boys, and then co-ed high school. And then finally we have Moivaro, which is where our girls' secondary school are boarding. Between all the campuses, we have about 1,400 students in boarding, 26 buses. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, sure.
St. Jude has grown so much since the first 3 students. There are frequently asked questions from our supporters. Are you ready?
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Okay, the first question, Gemma, is I was very excited when I heard about the girls' secondary school going to be started at 2020. And could you tell us why did you decide to do that?
It was wonderful to open a new girls' secondary school last year, Ester, but it was only open like for 2 months and then it all had to be shut down for COVID. But the reason why we wanted to open a girls' secondary school was, one, we had great support coming from our supporters, which was enabled us to even think of embarking on such a big project. Number 2 is, as you know, there are not very many secondary schools in Tanzania. We have over 16,000 primary schools, but only a few hundred high schools. And so we wanted to add another secondary school into the mix of Tanzania. And then why girls? Well, we have a boys' school already, about an hour's drive from here. And as you know, the further up the education ladder, the less girls tend to progress. So there are a lot of girls in primary, but not so many girls in secondary and tertiary. And so we wanted to counteract that and educate more girls, because in the end, more girls educated means more mothers are going to be educated, and there is a lot of research done on the positives of having educated mums. Children are better educated, children are better fed, they're healthier, less violence in the home. And we want to have a lot of future educated mums just like you.
Yeah, sure.
2020, how did St. Jude combat COVID-19?
Yeah, so 2020 really threw a curveball into the works, but thankfully, because of what we've had to deal with over the last 20 years, the team of staff, we have over 300 staff here, and a really strong parent community. We are pretty used to dealing with curveballs, Victor. And so when COVID hit, it was just another, curveball that we had to deal with. So we had a managers meeting and we thought, well, even if COVID shuts us down, how are we going to keep educating these students? Because in the end, our core mission is educate, educate, educate. And how are we going to do it? And so that's how the idea of educational packs came about, because as you know, our students come from families who are not well off. Most of our families don't have electricity. And so it's not like we could just switch and go on to online learning. And so that's how all the educational pack ideas came about. So all the educational staff, all our teaching staff and headmasters came together, and the photocopier was exhausted. Thousands and thousands of papers were photocopied. And then our drivers and our parent leaders, as you know, all got behind it, and they started delivering all of these educational packs. Now, after a while, we were seeing some of our families struggling for food. They'd lost jobs. As you know, this is a big tourist part of the world, and hunger was becoming a bit of an issue. So then that's how the idea of the COVID support packs came about. And so with the help of all of our staff, we blitzed and did 2,000 COVID packs in one day. And in each pack, can you remember what was in each pack?
Yeah.
There was lots and lots of bars of soap, and sanitizer for a family, because not all our families have access to water, so sanitizer is very important. Bleach, rice, maize, beans, which are the staple foods. Yeah. And again, our parent leaders and the bus drivers went on the 26 school buses all around northern Tanzania and dropped off all of those COVID packs. But then, out of the blue, ex-students started donating. And it was incredible. So we actually did a second lot of COVID packs that was paid for mainly by our ex-students and packed. Were you a part of the packing? No. It was a year above you, was it? Yeah, so all these ex-students turned up at the gate and they all packed another 1,000 food packs. Now those food packs had a lot more rice, a lot more beans, a lot more maize in them. And then our alumni, like yourselves, helped to distribute them. And there was an area, Unga Limited, which is a very poor area in town. We took the truck in and we distributed all of those packs. So that's how we dealt with COVID. Then after 3 months, everybody came back to the school and we've been running as usual.
So we had our first Form 6 graduation in 2015, and it was on the same year Beyond St. Jude program started. And actually, Victor and I are in this program recently. So could you tell us why you started Beyond St. Jude and how is it processing?
I think, to be honest, Esther, the Beyond St. Jude's program is one of the things I'm most proud about starting. I never knew or never thought it would take off, but I never thought St. Jude's would grow bigger than 3 students either. But I think what's really important is that you have a go at ideas. And if they don't pan out, well, that's okay. You just, think about doing something else or, pivoting. So the Beyond St. Jude's program was set up so that our students could give thanks for their free education after they finish high school. It's a little bit like a GAP program, but with a purpose. And so, as you know, you finished high school yourselves last year, and your entire education here at St. Jude's has been completely free. From uniforms to food to boarding to education, textbooks, library, everything has been free. Yeah. And before we support you at university, I thought that it would be nice to give you a chance to support and say thanks, because people have been helping you with your own education for years and years and years, and it would be nice for you also to sacrifice in the name of education before you go on to university, and that's how it started. Now, as you know, I'm a maths high school teacher, science teacher, and so when I started St. Jude's, I was getting lots of requests from the government schools around here if I could help teach maths. And so I knew that there was a big demand for maths teachers. So I thought, well, one hand, I've got Year 12 students who, most of them, love maths and sciences. And then I've got government schools outside who are really needing maths, science, English, business teachers. And so that's how the Beyond St. Jude's program idea came about. And when I say teach, they're teaching. They're not tutoring or assistant teaching. They have their own timetables. Some of our students who are working for that 1 year are actually become heads of departments. So Victor, what are you doing currently?
I'm teaching physics.
You're teaching physics in a government school?
Yeah.
What? My gosh, what year group are you teaching physics?
Form 2 and Form 3.
Oh, Form 2, so they're preparing for their national exams.
Yeah.
And what are you doing, Esther?
I'm teaching civic subjects.
So you're teaching in a government school?
Yeah, government
civics.
School, yes.
Well done.
So after students finish their community service year, what sort of degrees do they study in their tertiary education?
So Victor, we've got hundreds of students currently at university through our Beyond St. Jude's program, and they're studying a variety of courses from nursing and agriculture and forestry to medicine, engineering, teaching, IT, business, marketing, accounting, finance. We actually have, at the end of this year, 89 students coming out of university. Many of them, over 30, are in the medical field. We've got doctors, radiologists, clinical technicians. We've also got marketing, business, finance people coming out, lawyers. So 89 come out this year. So every year it's exciting to see who comes out and what they're doing and the businesses that they start up. It's exciting.
So now, Gemma, we all know there are a lot of students out there who would like to have a scholarship like we did. and have a chance to study at St. Jude. So could you explain to us a bit about St. Jude's selection process?
So here at St. Jude's, all students like yourselves, 100% of our students are on academic scholarships. And then we have people around the world who pay for or help finance a scholarship. Now, obviously, because we are a private school and a good quality school, everybody wants to come. So we get thousands, as you know, from the time when you, applied for a scholarship, thousands of students apply for our scholarship. So we offer scholarships at the beginning of primary school and at the beginning of secondary school and then at the beginning of high school. When did you come in, Esther?
2007.
So you came in at primary?
Yes.
When did you come in,
The same
Victor?
year,
In
primary.
primary. So you both came in at primary.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not lucky enough to get a scholarship at the beginning of primary, then you can have a go again at the beginning of secondary. And then if you're not lucky there, you can have a last go at the beginning of high school. In actual fact, Victor and Esther, there's a video, you guys actually might be in it, explaining what we've been talking about with student selection. I think it would be good for us to show this video now for everybody watching so that they can understand our student selection process.
Selection of students to acquire academic scholarship at the School of St. Jude is the core of our mission.
The first thing that we do assess them is we give them a test, reading test, and a little bit of counting. Then after they do their written exam, if they pass the written exam, it means that they've passed the academic stage for our selection process.
After that exercise of the written test, and those who have passed will be given an opportunity to do a pre-house check. With the pre-house check, they will sit down, get to be asked a couple of questions about their family and about their school. This is before the house check itself. Of course, soon after the pre-house check, that is done by our wonderful teachers who are supporting the entire process, we will allow the students to now go home with their parents, waiting to be informed of when the house check will take place.
During the house check, we go with a group of 4 people, scribe, who is the person who is writing the questions, as well as a translator, who is translating both sides. We have also an investigator who is investigating outside the house, near neighbors and other people around them who might know them, and to make sure we select the right students.
So as we try and look into the criteria of which students qualify, we are looking for excellent performance from these students in terms of academic. And then what follows next is the poverty assessment. So we have to visit these students to their homes and we have to find out, do they really qualify when we speak of the poverty levels, per capita income per day, maybe how are they able to support their families per day. Sometimes they could be, could raise only 1,000 shillings in a day. Are their living conditions and things like that. They will be invited to come over to the school on our opening day, where that is when we do a surprise uniform day. It's a great day. On that day, it becomes very emotional when we engage parents and we surprise parents with our students, the new students in fact, or their children dressed up in St. Jude's uniform.
See, I have attended St. Jude's for almost 13 years and completely free. Can you explain how does this work?
It's because we have thousands of people behind us. Victor, it's because everyone just does something towards the cause. So not everybody can work here. Some people can only make a donation. Some people can spread the word, so they don't have money, but they'll share our posts on the Instagram post, or they'll share our posts on Facebook, or they might have an information session at work or at their school or at their church to help spread the word. And then we have some wonderful people who actually come over to the school and work here at the school.
So if somebody was wishing to support St. Jude, what is the best way to do it?
If people can think of their own personal circumstances and what they can do to help St. Jude's, then that's how we keep moving forward. That's how we keep enrolling more students each year. That's how we can keep building more campuses and keep more and more students to help build our country. So some people might be able to just spread the word, tell a friend, share this St. Jude special with work colleagues or their church friends. A person may be in a position where they can donate or sponsor a student, such as yourself, a scholarship, or they might be able to pay our electricity bill for a year or a month or a day. Even a bucket of carrots will help. And because as you know, our food bill is over $10,000 a week.
So we will be celebrating our 20 years of St. Jude's in 2022. And where do you see St. Jude's in another 20 years?
Oh my gosh. In another 20 years. In another 20 years, I see a lot of ex-students on our school boards. As you know, we have a school board above each school, and then we have our NGO project board. I'd love to see ex-students there. In 20 years, I expect to see a lot of CEOs, business owners around Tanzania, ex-students. I think that there will be a very big donor base of ex-students. We're already seeing ex-students donating and giving their time. Even if you walk in our school today, you'll see ex-students giving their time, which is wonderful, coaching students, helping in the boarding.
Thank you, Gemma, for being with us today in this session in the St. Jude Special, and we have actually learned a lot.
I've really enjoyed it, Esther. Thanks, Victor, and I'm very, very proud of both of you. I want to also say thanks to you for supporting thousands of students like Victor and Esther with their education and also their future.
I'm Esther. I'm the third born in a family of 5, 2 boys, a girl and my mom. I was raised by my mother after my father passed away in 2003 when I was just 5 years old. My mom worked selling vegetables, but it was hard for her to pay school fees for all of us. My mom heard about St. Jude's on the radio. It said that St. Jude is looking for bright and underprivileged students from Arusha. She said to me, Esther, this is your chance. You are the one St. Jude is looking for. And those words became so important to me. This is your chance. Those words have been pushing me every day since 2007. I remember coming to St. Jude's for a selection day, and there were so many people outside there. I was lucky enough to pass my exams and I got in. I learned in a class with my friends, and I would eat hot lunch in the dining hall at lunchtime. I remember getting little certificates for Best in Swahili and Best Citizen, and I was so proud. Then I passed well in my Standard 7 exams for the end of primary school, and I started secondary school from 1. Last year, I graduated from 6 at St. Jude's, but because of COVID, we all thought that maybe it will be a strange day with no guests, no parents there, but actually it was a great day. I was so happy to celebrate with my friends and teachers. Thanks to St. Jude's, I'm the first girl in my family who has had the chance to reach advanced level and graduate from 6. Then after graduation, I joined Beyond St. Jude's for the community service year, the CSY. I was so excited for this chance to help students in government schools. Now, I am a volunteer teacher at Olorien Secondary School, teaching civics to Form 1. I teach 5 classes, and each class has between 50 and 60 students, so I teach about 300 students. I used to be the shy girl, so even when I told my family about the CSY program, they said, "Are you sure you can do this? How will you speak to all these students?" But I told them, "I'll do it." I was so nervous on my first day, but I have grown in confidence. Now I feel like I could speak to a whole parade of students. This school is very different from St. Jude's. From the learning environment, the teachers, the facilities. The classrooms are big, but they are full of students. They have to share chairs and tables and books, but they do it so as they can learn. They work so hard. I love teaching these students, I love seeing them learn, and I sometimes wish I could do this here again. At the end of my CSY, I'm planning on studying insurance at the university. St. Jude's has given me a free and quality education. I'm not only the first girl in my family to graduate secondary school, but soon I'll be the first girl in my family to go to university and be the first girl to have a degree. I always remember what my mom said to me back in 2007. This is your chance.
We have seen a new face. Now we are going to look at some familiar faces. We are going to be speaking to two ambassadors. Hi there, Judith.
Hello everyone, it's lovely having you today.
And joining us, 2019 Ambassador Godwin. Hello Godwin.
Thank you guys for having me in this amazing experience.
For those who don't know them, Judith and Godwin are 2019 and 2020 ambassador who joined Gemma on her tour to Australia. Judith, can you remind them on what you were doing on that tour and what are you doing right now?
Last year I did get a chance to travel with Gemma to Australia for the fundraising trip. It was such a lovely experience. Before that, I used to volunteer as a biology teacher in a government school. Then after the trip, I came back to Tanzania, finished my volunteering year, and around November, I joined university, pursuing a bachelor degree in road and railway transport logistics management at the National Institute of Transport, which is in Dar es Salaam.
What about you, Godwin?
So yeah, after my Australia tour with Gemma, I went back to finish my community service here, and for me, I chose to do my community service here by volunteering to teach in a local public school. I was teaching physics and mathematics. Right now, I'm pursuing a bachelor degree in electrical and computer engineering at the University of Rochester in the United States, and I live on campus, and I'm in my second year, so I have 2 years left to finish my degree, and I cannot wait for what the future holds for me.
Well, it seems a lot has changed for both of you since you're in Australia with Gemma. Can you tell us about starting university? And how about you, Godwin? How is it like to study in a new country?
For me, transitioning to university life wasn't a big problem because before coming to University of Rochester, I knew there was a graduate from the School of St. Jude who was already here. So I made an initiative of contacting him and asking him for guidance. And I'm glad that he was so helpful and he helped me to know the do's and the don'ts and what to expect, especially over the winter. Apart from that, with studies, I'm glad that I was able to make friends quickly, and I met a couple of scholars from Africa who were also taking my major, and we share the same courses, so we formulated a group to discuss our courses and how are we going to move forward. So for me, adapting to university life was not a big problem.
And how about you, Judith?
Starting university for me, it was a bit hard because the course is new, so I didn't have people who I could ask on how to navigate through the course. But my registration week was very good because there are other scholars from St. Jude who helped me in the registration process. Also, it was so hard for me to bear staying away from my mom. It was the first time staying away from home. But I do have a brother and a sister in Dar es Salaam who I could visit them during weekend.
Unfortunately, Victor and I can't make a trip to Australia this year. But we would love to hear about your experiences of the trip to Australia. Godwin, how was the trip and what effect did it bring to your life?
Personally, I feel so sorry to both of you, Victor and Esther, that you will not be able to go on this tour, because it would have been an amazing experience for both of you, and I think you would have benefited from learning directly from the sponsors and donors of the School of St. Jude, and get to share your messages and whatever achievement you have achieved so far. So on my side, my experience from the tour, it was really an amazing experience. To be honest, I really enjoyed the tour because it was my first time going overseas. It was my first time boarding a flight. I was nervous, but at the same time very excited. My favorite memory was my staying in Melbourne City, particularly with Mark Cubitt's family. They were really nice to us. They helped me personally to get used to the weather a little bit, because I know there's a significant time difference between Tanzania and Australia. So when you arrive there, you tend to have your body not used to the time difference. So you will need time to adapt. So we stayed at his place, and his family helped us to get used to the time. And I remember he also took me to the tallest building in Melbourne. I think it's called Eureka Sky Deck. And that was my amazing experience, because I've never been to such a tall building in my life. It was an amazing experience to myself, and I really thank the School of St. Jude for taking me to that tour. And I hope you guys are going to have an amazing experience, even though for you it's going to be a different experience. But still, I hope you're going to learn, and you're going to share the same message with the sponsors and donors. And hopefully you'll enjoy.
And Godwin, what are your future plans?
My future plan is to develop a career as a software engineer. And for me to be able to do that, I will need to focus on attaining my degree first. So I have 2 years left, and I think I will use that time to concentrate and do well in my courses. And afterwards, I will apply for a master's degree program. If I get a scholarship, I will pursue a master's degree in business and finance. And after that, I'll apply to work here in the United States for a few years to get the experience and the capital, because my bigger plan is to start a company in Africa. That's why I need to have the business knowledge as well. So when I start my company in Africa, I wouldn't have to worry about how to manage a business, how to take risks, and how to manage my finance. So yeah, those are my future plans, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to attain them.
That sounds wonderful for both of you. But Judith, what are your career plans?
My career plans for the future is to do logistics, that is based on the railway part, and later on pursue a master's, probably here in Tanzania or abroad.
Thank you very much, Judith and Godwin. It's been great having you on the St. Jude Special.
My name is Victor, and I'm the last born of 3 siblings. I have 1 brother and 1 sister, and we are all raised by my mother. Unfortunately, my father left our family just before I was born. My mother is a farmer. She used to keep chicken and grow maize to support us, but she found it hard to take care of us and pay for school with her low income. My mother wanted me to have good education, so she brought me on the selection day in 2006. There were many other students out there, but I passed the exam. Then I started primary school at St. Jude's in 2007. I loved it straight away, especially the background. I really missed St. Jude when I was home on holidays. I missed everything about it. After primary school, I continued to secondary school at St. Jude's. It was great studying at Smith campus, and my favorite teacher was Mr. Meshach. He taught me mathematics in Form 3 and he was so inspiring. Of course, I studied mathematics at advanced level along with physics and chemistry. My graduation from Form 6 last year was different to usual, but it was such a fun day. It was just our class, our teachers, and Mama Gemma. This year, I am a community service year volunteer teaching at government school, Olorieni Secondary School. I teach physics to 91 students of Form 3 and I teach the whole stream of Form 2. I am so busy, but really it is rewarding. I wasn't actually so nervous about teaching. I got so much practice when I was at St. Jude that I felt ready to teach my classes. Even on my first day at Olorieni, I felt like it wasn't my first time being a teacher. There is a lot for me to do and I'm so proud to be responsible for my students. At university, I want to study health and information system, which involves working with machines like X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs. St. Jude has given me opportunity to discover my passions. Thanks to St. Jude, I have received free quality education and I'm still learning today.
Now we are going to hear from our two more past ambassadors, Doris and Windrose. Hi Doris, can you tell us where are you today?
Hi Victor and Esther, it's great to be here. I'm studying medicine and actually I'm in my final year and I'm so excited. My university is located in the lake zone part of our country and I love it here.
And Windrose, you are far away from Arusha now. Where are you studying?
I am a senior at Trinity College, double majoring in mechanical engineering and economics, and I'll be graduating soon. I'm so excited.
The last time our supporters saw you, you were on tour in Australia with Gemma. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
In 2017, I was lucky enough to travel to Australia with the school founder Gemma Sisia for the Australian tour. And it was my first time outside of Africa and it was a very memorable experience for me. Australia was beautiful and everybody I met, every event I attended, every seat I went to, people were so nice and welcoming. I really learned a lot during that trip. I saw how people on the other side of the school are working hard to raise funds to make sure that the students get quality education, and that taught me the importance and the value of giving back to my community. My favorite experience was in Melbourne, where I got to visit the city, and it was the first place I went to when I went to Australia, so it was the first impression. And the second best place was in Sydney. I went to Bondi Beach. It was beautiful and it was filled with people and the beach was just breathtaking.
It has been few years since both of you finished your CSY. Do you think the lesson learned during that year still have impact on you?
It has been almost 5 years since I finished community service year program and until today I still use the lesson that I learned during that year.
Soon you'll be finished with university. As you're ending your year of studies, what will you be missing at university, Windrose?
I will miss Trinity a lot because while I was here, I was involved in a lot of activities, especially Trinity College Gospel Choir. I used to sing soprano there, and the robotics club, as well as swimming classes. I really enjoyed swimming here. I'll also miss my professors. During my time here, my professors were very helpful. Trinity being a small college, we had time for office hours And whenever I struggled, my professors were always ready to assist.
What about you, Doris?
Now that I approach the end of my studies, I'm happy, but at the same time I'm sad because I'm going to miss my friends, I'm going to miss the university and everything about it.
So Doris, what field of medicine do you plan to specialize in?
I plan to specialize on obstetric and gynecology because first I love it, and also because there are very few gynecologists and obstetricians in Tanzania and Africa at large. And when I finish, I plan to work here in Tanzania and help my community.
And what are your career plans, Windrose?
After I graduate, I am going to graduate school in Colorado. I got admitted at Colorado State University, and I'm going to do masters in mechanical engineering, concentrating in energy and energy systems. After that, I am planning to go back to Tanzania and settle in with my family, find a job, and assist them financially, especially sending my other little sisters and brothers to school.
That's so amazing, and we wish you best of luck. As we are finishing up today, what message do you have for our international supporters?
I want to thank the School of St. Jude's supporters, donors, and sponsors, because it's through their help that I was able to get the quality education and also achieve my dream of becoming an engineer. Through St. Jude, I was able to travel all the way and study in the US, and I was also able to support my family and my little sister, both financially and academically. My little sister will be graduating university in December this year.
Thank you, Doris and Windrose, for joining us today. It's been wonderful having you all today on the St. Jude Special.
Today is my happiest day in my life.
No words can express how happy I am.
I really appreciate what you have done for me.
My parents are very happy, my villagers are very happy, and they expect a lot from me. They hope that I'm going to bring changes in the society.
My family is really happy. My mother, my father, they're really proud of me.
My family feels awesome. They feel great. They feel proud for what their son have achieved.
Yani najisikia furaha mno kiasi kwamba yani siwezi hata kueleza. Nina furaha kubwa mno kwa jinsi nilivyonisaidia kumlea binti huyu mpaka kufikia hatua hii.
Life in university was really fun. Sometimes was challenging too, but really it made me stronger and made me who I am now.
I believe that the education that I have received, it will help me to change the life of our family, brothers, sisters, and the society at large.
I really miss my university life, but then I think I'm ready to go and save the world out because the world waits for me.
Thank you very much. Words cannot express how grateful I am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I'm very happy.
And just like that, the St. Jude Special is at its end.
It's been great to speak to you all and spread the word about St. Jude's. But before we go, we have something to ask you, our international supporters.
Esther, Judith, Godwin, Windrose, Doris, and I have all been benefiting from free quality education at St. Jude's. Thanks to you, our sponsors and donors, that we have been able to finish primary school, secondary school, and begin studying and graduating and making a real difference in Tanzania.
For us, life has changed for the better, but still, there are many students who are unsponsored or yet to begin their St. Jude stories.
You can sponsor an academic scholarship for a St. Jude student like me, or make a donation by visiting schoolofstjude.org and make a real difference in our lives of our family and the communities.
And if you have already donated, thank you so much from all of us here in Tanzania. Your donation to the School of St. Jude is fighting poverty through education.